There are embarrassing public moments, and then there are the kind of disasters that become permanent internet history. Moments so awkward, so publicly humiliating, and so repeatedly avoidable that they transform into running jokes all around the world. And when it comes to that category, Kate Middleton might just be in a league of her own. Every time she steps out onto a runway or a tarmac, the world braces itself, because everyone knows what's coming next. It's the same scene, the same mistake, and the same outcome, yet another skirt-blowing catastrophe caught on camera. Today's episode is not about royal poise or elegance. It's a breakdown of Kate Middleton's most cringe-inducing wind disasters, the ones that turned her into a global laughingstock, not once, not twice, but multiple times. Nobody needs royal gossip or scandal when reality hands out slapstick comedy for free. These are not minor slip-ups. These are high-speed public humiliations that unfold in front of soldiers, officials, photographers, diplomats, and entire nations. And no matter how many times it happens, Kate never seems to learn, adjust, prepare, or change a single thing. Instead, she keeps walking into the same mess again and again, giving the internet fresh meme material every single year. Let's begin at the source of the chaos. Kate walks off a plane, like she's walking into a staged royal photo shoot. Stiff posture, fixed smile, hair brushed into submission. Everything looks carefully practiced. And then comes the moment she can't control. A blast of wind lifts her skirt sky high, instantly turning a choreographed entrance into an awkward spectacle. The photographers don't hesitate. The shutters click rapidly. Millions of eyes get to see, in real time, yet another wardrobe fail. Within minutes, the internet reacts exactly the way you'd expect. Laughter, mockery, memes, commentary, and endless jokes. The future queen reduced to a windy punchline again. What truly transforms these incidents from simple accidents into full comedic sagas is how frequently they happen. This isn't a one-off embarrassment. This isn't a single unlucky moment. This is a pattern, a routine, practically a tradition at this point. Kate's skirt has blown upward in more countries than most people have visited. It happens on official tours, national ceremonies, military visits, airport landings, anywhere the wind has the slightest opportunity to expose her unpreparedness. And every time it happens, the internet doesn't see a princess or a dignitary. They see a woman caught completely off guard, fumbling to keep her clothes under control while the cameras capture everything. By the time the fourth or fifth windy disaster happened, social media had already created a nickname for the recurring chaos. Some called it Kate's International Wind Tour. Others called it the Royal Skirt Chronicles. It got to the point where people started watching royal footage with the expectation that something embarrassing would happen. It became predictable, almost guaranteed. And when the public can predict your next embarrassing moment, that's when you know it's become more than an accident. It's become a reputation. The palace's response only makes it worse. Instead of acknowledging the obvious, that these moments are awkward and humiliating, they release statements trying to downplay or sugarcoat what everyone clearly saw. They describe the wind as playful, as if the weather itself is participating in some charming fairy tale. But the images show something far from charming. They show Kate grappling with a skirt that refuses to stay down, caught in front of hundreds of cameras capturing every uncomfortable second. There's nothing whimsical about the awkwardness on her face or the frantic way she tries to control the fabric. The palace may try to rewrite the narrative, but the photos don't lie, and the internet certainly doesn't forget. The truth is simple. These moments expose the cracks in the polished royal image the palace tries so hard to maintain. Kate is constantly held up as the picture of composure, but these wind disasters completely unravel that illusion. They show her in a state of panic, unprepared, vulnerable to the simplest of elements: wind. Not criticism, not scandal, not political tension, just wind. And every time it happens, the internet responds with the same mixture of shock and amusement. Because if someone is going to insist on presenting themselves as eternally flawless, they better be ready for the internet to pounce when the reality doesn't match. And let's address the obvious question. Why does it keep happening? Why doesn't she wear weighted hems? Why doesn't she choose materials that resist blowing upwards? Why doesn't her team prepare for tarmac landings where wind is guaranteed? If the mishaps happened once, fine. Twice, understandable. But when the count enters double digits, people stop viewing it as misfortune and start viewing it as a lack of foresight. The royal family prides itself on planning every detail. Yet something as basic as securing a skirt on windy runways seems to permanently escape Kate's preparation. This ongoing issue has even overshadowed some of the events she attends. Instead of discussing the purpose of her visit, people focus on the dramatic skirt malfunction that stole the spotlight. Comment sections fill with jokes like, "Here we go again," or "Did no one warn her it's windy on airport runways?" Some even joke that the wind is her strongest rival, the only force brave enough to repeatedly interrupt royal appearances. One especially embarrassing moment occurred during an international tour when Kate greeted military personnel. The wind hit with full force, launching her skirt upward while she desperately pushed it down. Soldiers stood there trying to maintain straight faces as photographers captured everything. The images went viral before Kate even left the site. It was supposed to be a dignified moment. Instead, it became another addition to the public humiliation archive. And yet, somehow, the British tabloids continue to treat these disasters like they don't exist. They crop photos, hide angles, rewrite events, and spin the narrative into something harmless. But social media is the great equalizer. People online share the uncensored versions, the angles the tabloids pretend aren't real. The internet tells the truth the traditional media refuses to. And the truth is that these moments are embarrassing, repetitive, and impossible to defend. Meanwhile, let's not ignore the double standard that fuels even more backlash. When Meghan Sussex barely adjusts her coat button, tabloids scream, "Scandal." When she holds her stomach during pregnancy, critics accuse her of seeking attention. When she breathes, the media accuses her of breaking protocol. But Kate can have full-blown skirt catastrophes in front of global audiences, and the same tabloids treat it like it's nothing. They gloss over it, ignore it, pretend it didn't happen. That hypocrisy is exactly why the internet clings to these embarrassing Kate moments, because the palace and media refuse to hold her to the same standards they impose on others. Over the years, Kate's wind disasters have become one of the most consistent features of her public appearances. Not accomplishments, not initiatives, not speeches, but wardrobe malfunctions. People associate her with these moments because they are the ones that circulate, the ones that repeat, the ones she never solves. When someone repeatedly steps into the same situation unprepared, they create their own reputation. And Kate's reputation, whether she likes it or not, has become tied to these embarrassing fashion fails. These moments expose something the palace never wants the public to notice: a lack of practical awareness. A future queen should not be repeatedly caught in the same humiliating scenario. Everyone around her, stylists, handlers, advisors, has failed to take basic precaution, but ultimately the responsibility falls on Kate. No one forced her to choose lightweight skirts on windy days. No one forced her to ignore solutions that other royals used for decades. She made those choices, and the wind exposed them every time. The internet has built entire compilations of her windy blunders, multi-minute videos showing the same pattern on repeat. Every clip adds to the narrative that Kate is consistently unprepared, consistently caught off guard, consistently overshadowed by her own wardrobe issues. These aren't isolated incidents. They're a series, a storyline. A long-running comedy the internet revisits every time a new blunder happens. And with each replay, her reputation becomes even more connected to these embarrassing moments. What's worse is that these moments undermine the image the palace tries so desperately to construct around Kate, the perfect, flawless royal. If she were presented as a normal person with normal imperfections, these moments wouldn't matter as much. But the palace insists on painting her as unshakable perfection, and the wind tears that illusion apart every time it gets the chance. The more they try to protect her image, the more her public blunders stand out. It's impossible to keep pretending someone is flawless when the world keeps seeing the opposite. At this point, Kate's windy disasters are part of global pop culture. They're referenced in jokes, parodies, remixes, reaction comments, and tweets. They're the moments that get shown whenever people discuss royal hypocrisy or the absurd lengths the palace goes to hide unflattering truths. And the reason these moments stick is because of the sheer frequency. Nobody expects the same error to repeat over a decade unless the person involved refuses to change. In the end, Kate Middleton's wind-blown skirt disasters have become some of the most embarrassing, unforgettable, and publicly ridiculed moments in recent royal history. There's nothing graceful about them. There's nothing endearing about repeated unpreparedness. They are awkward, uncomfortable, humiliating, and entirely avoidable, and yet they keep happening. And until the palace decides to stop pretending everything is perfect, the internet will continue to laugh every time the wind rises and Kate steps outside. Because at this point, the pattern speaks for itself. The wind always wins, and Kate always ends up as the joke.